Hi, I'm Tony, and I'm a manager here at IBM. I'm in a room full of brilliant engineers because I have a lot of questions about the next generation of containerized DB2. So why don't we get right into it? Dave, from a big picture standpoint, how does this actually all work?
So as part of Db2 Next Generation, we're introducing a new operator. That operator is essentially responsible for bringing up an instance of Db2 on your OpenShift or Kubernetes cluster. Essentially how it works is the customer creates a Db2 instance custom resource, and the operator reconciles that resource until its status matches the desired state. The operator reconciles the resource. This is important during the create phase, for instance. During that phase, the custom resource goes into a conversion state, and that's essentially where we're creating all the Kubernetes resources that support an instance of Db2. There are other phases as well, though. So for instance, if you want to do a scale operation or feature enablement, we have phases for those as well.
Awesome. Okay, so one feedback that I get a lot is user experience. So Jampreet, how did we improve the user experience?
Yeah, so we are leveraging Kubernetes primitive of webhooks, which allows us to do certain operations which are necessary before the instance get deployed. One of them is the admission webhook, which allows us to validate the input spec before it gets deployed to the cluster. And also it allows us to ensure that the spec lies within the support statement, both in terms of feature and also compatibility. Secondly, we are using the mutation webhook, which allows us to set certain default configurations which are necessary for the deployment to come up. So overall, by leveraging these Kubernetes webhooks, we're able to provide a better user experience, and also this will help in adoption of the next-gen operator.
All right. So Runa, you've been around for a while. A core tenet of DB2, high availability. Did we sacrifice high availability with this new architecture redesign?
Absolutely not. So what we have done is we have leveraged a combination of lifecycle hooks like Liveness probe, along with the lightweight process manager called RUnit, where the RUnit is able to manage a Db2 lifecycle for example, stop, start, or pause, resume, as well as monitor the state of Db2 within the container, and then recover if there's any failure. And having that built-in HA allows us to basically avoid taking a lifecycle event in case if there's a failure.
Okay, so you guys could talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Anand, can we see this thing get installed?
Of course, yes. So our operator is installed using Helm, which means it comes with charts. So once we get the charts, like I have over here, I have also created a overrides file. This lets us just choose where the operator is installed and namespace for it, the image and the repository. In case you're doing an air gap install, you can change where it comes from. We also have a watch namespace that I specified here. It essentially tells the operator to watch a different namespace where you want to install your Db2 instances, as well as a platform field, which basically lets us know whether we're on OpenShift or Kubernetes native. But as for the install, it's as easy as Helm install command. So I'm just going to do a overrides file here. This is just a Helm install, and then hit enter. Let Helm do its thing for a few seconds. Just going to install all of our Kubernetes resources. And here we go. So now if I do a kubectl pods, you can see that our Db2 operator pod is up and running.
Awesome. So does this mean that we have Db2 up and running?
Not yet. So this is just the operator, Db2 instance custom resource that we need for Db2.
So Danny, can you show us how we can get Db2 up and running?
Yeah, absolutely. So one good thing is we can continue to use the charts that Anand mentioned before. To install a Db2 instance, it's also going to be a Helm-based. It's going to be a Helm-based install. So what we're going to do is, first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the context namespace back to the Db2 instance that Anand put in his watch namespace. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to render the templates. And while this Helm template command renders, it's going to render, for example, we can specify the storage class we want to use, and also the images we want to use. We're going to, of course, use the latest one. And lastly, once it's all rendered, what we're going to do in this demo is we're going to deploy a Db2 OLTP, our transactional database, as an example, and we're just going to use kubectl apply. And after that, we applied it, we can see all like the resources, the Kubernetes resources that Db2 needs. They're already all converged. For example, we can see like the service, the PVCs, the config maps, they're all converged. And then now we can see the pod is coming up. And yeah, in about roughly 3 minutes, the Db2 instance pod is up and running, and it's ready for client interactions.
Awesome. So we have it running. Could we actually connect to it, Aruna?
Yeah, it's really easy. So what I'm going to do is I have already created a load balancer service using the node port service that was created during the Db2 instance deployment. And I'm going to use dbeaver, which is a very popular database management tool, and create a new connection and just plug in the external IP endpoint and the port from that load balancer service into the connection settings for host and port, as well as the database name, and then use the credentials. For our demo, I'm going to use Db2 instance credentials, and just click test connection, and I can see a successful connection. And once that is done, I'll just browse through some of the database objects. I have created a demo table, and I can retrieve data, I can list table spaces, etc.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like we made things simpler. It sounds like we improved deployment time. It sounds like we improved the user experience. It sounds like a home run. Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you.